Cheers.
I'm smoking the Diesel Rage. It's full-bodied, and I aged it for about a year.
Well, I'm smoking the Padilla Habano, but we're not here to discuss that. We're here to discuss cigars versus dip. We like to call it chaw in the fraternity. Dip tobacco, it's a smokeless tobacco product, being that you don't have to light it on fire to get the effects. A lot of people, including myself for a long time, used to think that dip and chewing tobacco were the same thing. They both, you put them in the lip, you pack them in like the side of your mouth. It's easy to confuse the two. However, chewing tobacco comes in larger chunk leaves that you actually have to chew and break up with your teeth. That's why they call it chewing tobacco. Dip, it derived from dry sniff. And then when you put dry sniff in your mouth, it gets moist. And they started marketing it as wet sniff or moist sniff. It's finely ground up tobacco, so you don't actually have to chew it.
Today we have Skoal. The other big brands are Copenhagen.
Copenhagen. Dude, that's my brand.
Copenhagen is the oldest one from like the early 19th century.
1822.
Skoal, the brand, started making dip tobacco in 1934. And then what was the other one? Like something savage. Grizzly.
Now the common flavors with dip tobacco is going to be usually mint or wintergreen or usually just plain style. My favorite is Copenhagen wintergreen in the pouch form. In my fraternity, commonly referred to as poochers. The reason why I like the pouch forms of dip more is because it's way more manageable. All of the little bits that are finely ground up are all in a pouch, so it's easy to take the pouch out and throw it away, as opposed to when you have this long cut, it's all in your teeth. You gotta like scrape it out with your finger.
Definitely not a good look when you got bits of black tobacco stuck in between your teeth. Cigars, you enjoy for the aroma, the flavor, and the ritual of relaxation. I would... Whoa. Smells like we just opened up a pack of gum.
Yeah. How do you use dip? You take it out, you get a pinch. If you have the pouches, you get 1 or 2 pouches depending on how hardcore you are.
Some people are savage and they do like 3
pouches. Yeah. You might want to kind of make it into a ball.
Seems to be a little bit harder when you're doing it around a microphone. So he's packing his lip full of the long cut, and then maybe get a good buddy to be like, yo, you got something. Looks all right. You got some on your lips. Let me do a little. You got some right here.
What do I do with it on my hands now?
Yeah, it's all like, sticky.
I put it into my lip. There's a tingling sensation, and I immediately I start salivating, and I need to spit.
When you're dipping, don't want to drink because...
No, you can drink.
You could drink, but I mean...
Careful.
You don't want to swallow your spit. It'll just hit you even harder. Too woozy, too fast.
Now, when it comes to chawing or dipping, I highly recommend you spit into a bottle. If you spit into a cup, it's doable, but you'll find that with the rim being wider on the cup, it's harder to get the spit to come off your lip. And you spit and it's like...
And yeah, it just kind of doesn't really... It's like it gets pinched.
Like that.
Oh, come on. This is what we're talking about. That happens no matter what. But if you have it in a cup, that happens even more regularly. It's much easier to spit into a bottle. Maybe you and I are just noobs, Garrett. Maybe we just don't have the right technique for our spitting. Yeah. Funny story. First time I tried dip was with my fraternity bros, UCI, and we just did a Century Club. So we drank a lot of beer, 100 shots of beer in 100 minutes, and I was very drunk. Yeah, I'll try dip. I'm feeling loose. And so my buddy gives me some dip, puts some in my lip. Maybe one minute goes by, and then the entire world is spinning like it's never spun before.
And I'm sure the alcohol really helped.
Oh yeah, the alcohol definitely exacerbated things. I immediately just spit it out. 5 minutes later, I was just puking my guts out. I didn't try dip for 2 more years until I was in Korea, and I was at a bar, and I met a Swiss businessman. Where are you from? And I said I was from America. Oh, a cowboy. And then he pulls out a puck of dip, and then he proceeds to pinched together a good amount for myself, and then he decided to like give it to me, and I was like, okay, I'll put it in my own lip. Light a cigarette for someone, but like putting dip in someone else's lip, I just like, I'll take it. All Americans are cowboys who do dip, supposedly if you're from Sweden, I guess. But it was a good experience, and I occasionally will enjoy dip when I go to a bar or something, because you can't smoke a cigar in a bar because the smoke, obviously. But that's the good thing about dip, is there's no smoke.
I'm getting better with the spit thing. You really gotta, you spit in there and then you use the rim to really wipe it off. Normally when we're at a bar, we'll use a beer bottle. The confusing thing is you have a little bit of dip spit in the bottom of a beer bottle, which is brown usually. You can't tell it's dip spit. When we met that Swede, I was dipping because he gave us some. And I was spitting into a bottle inside the bar, and this guy's girlfriend,
my beautiful, innocent, pure girlfriend, drank your minty, fresh dip spit.
Oh,
I can't even imagine
the look on her face.
I just wanted to hug her and just tell her everything's going to be okay. I still love you. I will get you gum. I will get you water, whatever you need. We can go home right now. And she was trying to be a good girl. She was like, don't waste the beer. And she
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so moving on to,
let's talk about the historical
good old Christopher Columbus.
The OG.
Columbus was introduced to tobacco in Cuba. The natives showed Christopher Columbus how they smoke these huge cigars. They didn't have the molds and the presses. But later, in the year 1500, when Christopher Columbus was coming back to the New World, he landed upon an island off the coast of Venezuela, and the natives there had a form of chewing tobacco. Chewing tobacco, like we said, is different from dip, but these natives, they had a combination of green tobacco leaves mixed with broken up mussel clam shells, and they'd chew on it or put it in their lip. And that was the first introduction to some sort of chewing
smokeless tobacco
for the Western world.
Nowadays, it's essentially only common to find in the southeastern part of America. It goes back in American culture as being popular with baseball players. And I did find a fun historical note. During the Civil War, chewing tobacco was commonly made with cigar clippings. When you roll a cigar, you got to cut it very precisely so that it rolls perfectly. And with those extra clippings, then make chewing tobacco. What is it? I liked to chew when I was in the fraternity. You don't want to smoke in the basement of a fraternity house when you're doing fraternity activities. And when you chew, it affects you really well, and you don't have to drink as much.
I would want to get very drunk on the weekends because it's Korean culture to get very drunk. So
I was just participating.
We're trying to enjoy the culture. When in Rome, but I didn't want the hangover, and I realized if I dipped, I would probably drink about 4 or 5 less drinks on a typical Saturday night. It was smart in that sense, but again, that's a very complex and probably rare situation because most girls wouldn't want anything to do with their boyfriend if he has dip in his mouth.
How long have I had this in my mouth? Like 4-5 minutes?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take it out because I'm already getting woozy.
Be sure not to get it on my cigar or your cigar. I'll put it here. You going to put that in your ashtray? No, you just put it in the bottle. Put it in the bottle.
No, I got it all over my freaking hands.
Okay, so this is a common misconception that I myself thought there is fiberglass mixed in with the dip. And I could see why everyone thinks that, because A, they've done absolutely no research, and B, it's a cutting, burning, like almost painful sensation in your lip. But we did further research, and there's actually not
fiberglass.
There's no fiberglass mixed in with the tobacco.
In the dip itself, salts can be added or naturally form from the storing and fermenting. With dip tobacco, there are additives in place to make the nicotine get absorbed quicker. And that also aids to maybe the discomfort when you put it in the soft gum tissue.
The only reason why we were able to find dip tobacco in Korea is because we went to Itaewon, which is the foreigner district. There's a big military base. It was 14,000 won. But in the States, it's like $2.50.
At least in California, it's like $2.50.
$3. It's way more expensive here. But yeah, very, very cheap in the States.
But this will last you longer than a cigar, and it's the same price as a premium cigar. Now, as far as the effects, I had a small amount in my lip for 5 minutes, and I feel like I smoked an entire full-strength cigar. You've smoked, what?
1 inch.
Do you feel anything yet?
No.
There you have it. A very different product for a very different situation. You can be the judge. what you go for.
If you enjoyed this video, if you find it entertaining or useful, feel free to like or subscribe. Check out our other videos, our how-to videos, our podcasts, travel videos, and cigar reviews.
Be sure to drop us a comment if there's anything you want us to cover in future videos. And as always, stay classy. Have a good one.